Jobs and investment in the port of Dover will be under threat if it's not allowed to dredge material from the Goodwin sands. Well, that's the claim from the Harbour Board after campaigners raised concerns that the work could disturb wildlife and war graves at sea.
Well, the Goodwin Sands lies 7.5 miles northeast of Dover. The Dover Harbour Board wants to take millions of tonnes of gravel from an area called South Caliper to use as building material in the expansion of the port. But over 12,000 people have now signed a petition against the plans. Sarah Smith reports.
It's a battle over a 12-mile sandbank in the English Channel. To some, it's a war grave and a vital home to marine wildlife. To others, it offers the chance to provide the nearby town of Dover with much-needed regeneration. Work here has already started on the Dover Western Docks Revival, a £250 million project to increase port capacity. Aggregate dredged from the Goodwin sands would be used to build up part of the docks. If they have to buy it elsewhere, they say, it would cost millions more and put at risk the shops, restaurants and hotels planned for the harbour.
The expansion in port capacity has to be delivered. It's a national priority. Some of the nice to have, some of the peripheral stuff that I've been fighting for quite a long time to get here in Dover, and that Dover's been waiting for, frankly, since the end of the Second World War, is under threat if we have to spend the money elsewhere.
At the port, they say they'd dredge less than 1% of the Goodwin sands, but with dozens of planes lost here during World War II and hundreds of shipwrecks over the centuries, campaigners say there's no way of knowing what graves might be disturbed, and that developers should never have planned to use it in the first place.
They've actually got themselves in this situation because they were so arrogant in thinking they would get the sand from the Goodwins that they didn't undertake their due diligence and look elsewhere at the alternative sources. And if they'd done that properly 2 years ago at the beginning of this, they wouldn't be faced with this situation now of having this unexpected, to them unexpected, extra cost of getting aggregate from elsewhere. They would have budgeted it and planned it in their programme.
Marine conservationists say the whole of the sands should be protected. Developers insist their plans will do no harm and will instead bring jobs and prosperity.
Well, Sarah joins us now from Dover. Sarah, you mentioned the jobs there. Just how many jobs do the developers think they'll be bringing?
Well, they say there should be 520 new jobs created if they can go ahead with all of their proposals. But if they have to spend that extra £21 million, they say, getting what they need from somewhere other than the Goodwin Sands just up the channel there, then that could put at risk some of the things like shops and hotels and restaurants. Campaigners say those figures are nonsense, that they could easily do it with much less money, that there are many other places where they could get the aggregate. The decision on whether or not they can dredge will be made by the government, and that's expected to come through later this year.
We'll keep an eye on that one. Sarah, thanks very much indeed.
The family of a toddler